I'm looking to set up a trade in S&P 500. This is a variation of a bear trap, and I want to kind of walk through the steps of how I'm looking to set up this trade, what I'm looking for when I'm setting up this trade, and I'm going to go over potential profit targets as well as stop losses and what I would expect from this trade over the next couple of weeks. So first thing is that this is a shorter term trade. This one has only 21 DTE, which means we only have about 3 weeks, just a little over 3 weeks to make this play. This is a neutral trade to slightly bearish, and we'll see that over time we're going to start to pick up a little bit more and more of negative delta, assuming that implied volatility does not rise from where we are today. Let's talk about the setup of this trade. So with this structure, I'm looking at buying a put debit spread, and I'm placing my put debit spread somewhere within the one expected move or one standard deviation, what is currently being priced in based on current implied volatility over the next 21 days. So this darker gray area is what the market is pricing in as far as expected move. So a one expected move to the upside will put S&P at around 4620, and one expected move to the downside will put the S&P somewhere around 4305 or so. So I'm placing a 10-point wide put debit spread. I'm buying a 4400 put. I'm selling a 4390. So this is a 10-point wide put debit spread. This spread is currently going for about 210 debit, which means I'm paying $2.10 or $210 for the 10-point wide put debit spread. My maximum risk is debit paid, which is $210. My max potential reward for this put debit spread is the difference between the strikes, which is 10 points minus 210, or about $7.90 or $790. So the 10-point wide put debit spread going for 210. 210 is my max risk. 790 is my max potential return. Now, to eliminate risk to the upside, I am going to sell a farther out of the money put credit spread. I'm going to use a 50-point wide put credit spread, and I need to collect enough credit to cover my cost or the risk of this 10-point wide put debit spread. Remember, the risk or what I'm paying for the 10-point wide put debit spread is 210. I am going to look for a 50-point wide put credit spread where I'm going to collect at least $2.10 to eliminate or to remove all of my risk to the upside. I'm selling the 4125 and I'm buying the 4075. That is a 50-point wide put credit spread that is currently going for about $2.30 credit, which means that $2.30 credit will go towards covering the cost or outlay of the $2.10 that I'm paying for my put debit spread. Now this will take out all of my risk to the upside, which means if the S&P 500 rallies over the next 3 or 4 weeks, or by expiration, if S&P is somewhere above the 4400, which is where my long put of my put debit spread is, all options will expire worthless. I will have spent $2.10 on my put debit spread. I will have collected $2.30 from my put credit spread, which will leave me with a net credit of about 20 cents or $20. So that's as far as upside risk goes. There isn't any. Now on the downside, I have a 10-point wide put debit spread and I have a 50-point wide put credit spread. The absolute risk here is 40 points, right? So a 50 points worth of risk with this put credit spread, and I have max potential reward of 10 points with my put debit spread. The difference between the two, 5 minus 1 is 4. So I have about $4,000 worth of risk. That's absolute risk. And if I collect about a 20-cent net credit for this trade, the 20-cent credit goes to reduce my absolute risk from $4,000 down to about $3,980 or so. Now, the best case scenario for this trade is that S&P is somewhere inside of the bear trap. This is the trap or the body of this structure. If S&P is, let's say, if S&P is at 4,300 at expiration, we have a 10-point wide put debit spread that's worth $10, and we have the 50-point wide put credit spread, which is out of the money at expiration, which means it's worth nothing, right? So the max we can make at 4,300 is $1,000 plus the $20 credit that we're collecting. So we could potentially make about $1,020 profit, and that is if S&P is somewhere inside of 43.90 all the way down to 41.25, right? So the put debit spread will expire in the money, worth its full max potential, which is 10 points or $1,000, and the put credit spread will expire worthless, which means that we will have collected the $230 and we get to keep full $230 credit. Now, as far as acceptable risk goes, obviously our goal here is to capture S&P somewhere inside of the body or inside of the bear trap here, but there is a chance that we may see a significant push lower. Obviously, I am not looking to risk all of the $4,000 that will be required to put up with your broker in order to enter this trade. My stop is going to be on the break of the break even to the downside, which is right around 41.15. So if S&P 500 moves below 41.15, I'm going to stop out of this trade. I'm going to take a loss and I'm going to move on to a different trade. So just to recap real quick, I'm buying a 10-point wide put debit spread. I'm selling a 50-point wide put credit spread. Put credit spread is going to cover all of the risk associated with the 10-point wide put debit spread. This will leave me with a small credit to the upside. If the market runs higher, this trade might make nothing or whatever the little credit we might collect on entry. If the market moves down with enough speed and below 41.15, I will stop myself out. Best case scenario, and we can put the T+0 lines over price and over time. So if the S&P is just going to kind of drift lower, we could potentially make upwards of 25% return on risk. Risk being the $4,000 that I have to put up with the broker to put this trade on. I would also consider closing out this trade if, say, we had gotten to about plus 500. So we're looking at T+16 with 6 days to go. If we're somewhere around 4,300 and I am seeing my P&L plus 580 out of max potential plus 1,000, I will gladly take 50% of my max potential and avoid potential move to the downside and having the trade turn from positive to negative.